to another episode of So That's How You Do It. Sorry, we're a bit late in our start time today. Technology was not being our friend. Please give me just 1 minute to connect us live on Instagram. I'll be right with you guys. Okay, it's going. All right. Welcome to another episode of So That's How You Do It. Today, we are going to talk about one of my favorite things. We call it your unique branded secrets. And it is something that can set you apart in minutes in a very crowded marketplace and give you that competitive advantage that you've always wished you had, but maybe you didn't know you had and didn't know how to articulate it, even if you knew you had it. Okay. So today, that is what we are going to work on here. And I'm super excited to walk you guys through this. We also have a hot seat guest who's going to be joining us. And we are going to help her figure out her unique branded secret live and in person. Well, virtually in person, whatever that is. We're going to be doing that today so that you can see how this works real time and you guys can go ahead and do this yourself. Hey, Amanda and Sam, you guys might want to mute because we can hear your background noise. That's my amazing tech team behind the scenes that I'm talking to you guys. So they're going to go ahead and try and take care of that. We're having some tech issues today. Anyways, super excited to be with you guys as always. During these live trainings, I really, really want to help you guys. I want this to be interactive and I want to answer the questions that you have about marketing your small business live right now, today. So take advantage of this, right? So all of that to say, please, please, please let me know you're here in the chat if you're watching live. Put your comments in the chat. Put your questions in the chat. When we are all finished with the training, we're going to open up for questions, assuming we still have some time available. And I'm going to help you guys on the spot. So pretty cool. So in case this is your first time watching us live, my name is Stephanie Novinskas. I'm the CEO of Sizzleforce Marketing and the creator of Sizzleforce Academy, which is a DI sort of Y marketing training program that teaches small business owners how to market their own companies, or is something that small business owners can give to somebody in an admin role or another entry level role that really wants to learn marketing and then raise them up in their company to handle all the marketing internally, knowing how to do it right the first time. Okay, so today, we're talking about your unique branded secret. As always, I just want to remind you guys, I have to look at a bunch of different cameras to be able to broadcast in multiple places. So when you see my eyes shifting, please bear with me and have grace and understand the situation. So we're going to get into the good stuff right now. So your unique branded secret, what the heck is this? And why should you care? Well, here's the thing. A unique branded secret is basically your step-by-step process of how you work with the people that you serve, right? Now, why should you care about having this or sharing it for that matter? Because you might be like, well, yeah, we have our process, but our process is behind the scenes. That's what we keep private. Okay, this is not your secret sauce. That's different, okay? You're going to touch a little bit on your process today in a big picture sense, but you're not giving away that one thing that you keep in the vaults, right? You're not giving that away. So I want to clarify the difference between the two. The unique branded secret is your process with an acronym assigned to it so it has a name, right? Now, that might be a little unclear, so just track with me. We're going to walk through this today together. And as you watch me help our hot seat guest develop hers, you guys are going to learn how to do this so you can turn around and do it on yourselves. And you know what? If you need some help, of course, we're all always here to help you. And so we welcome your questions today live here in the chat. If you have questions outside of this, you're welcome to book a paid consultation with us. If you prefer to just jump in and join us in Sizzleforce Marketing Academy, you can also do that coming in October, and more on that in just a little bit. So let's jump in here and talk about this unique branded secret. So all of you guys have a process for what you do every day, and your competitors can easily try to knock off certain things. However, if you trademark the name of your process, then it's untouchable, right? It's untouchable from a legal standpoint. And that's an amazing competitive advantage that you have. There's 3 steps that you guys need to follow to create one of these things. Number 1, you need to identify the steps in your process. So ideally, it's going to be 4 or 5 different steps. You possibly could have up to 7, no more than 7, because nobody's ever going to remember it, right? It's too complicated, it's too much. And we're trying to create something that makes you absolutely unforgettable. Remember, a confused mind always says no. And whether they're saying no to learning more from you, or they're saying no to a consultation with you, or they're saying no to a sale with you, a confused mind is always no, and no is a bad word. We don't like to hear that word. So you need to identify the different steps of your process, ideally 7 steps or less. And if you really want to get a home run, it's going to be 4 or 5 steps, okay? Step number 2, you need to think of words that represent what you do, okay? So, and again, when we do our hot seat, you're going to see how this works real time. But you want to think about some different words, like I have a marketing agency, right? So some words that I might do, I might have a process. I'm trying not to give you an actual one that we've built out, but I could do something around the words grow, right? I could do something around the word sizzle, right? Because the name of my company is Sizzleforce. There's a lot of different words that would be relevant to what I help my customers do. So that's the second step that you guys need to figure out. And step number 3, mix and match the words in your process to make an acronym out of some of the words that you came up with in step 2, if at all possible. Or you might just find another word happens in the moment. So I know this can be a little complicated, but you'll see how this works right now. So we actually are bringing on our hot seat guest right now. Jennifer, can you join us live? Let me give Jen just 1 second to jump on and join us.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me all right?
There you are. Hi, Jen.
Hiya.
So Jen, obviously I know you, and I know you're just an amazing woman who's doing incredible things out there in the big bad world, but our guests may not know you. So can you tell everybody the name of your company and what you actually do?
Yeah, sure. So I work with step family couples through Step Family Mission Possible, and you can find us at stepfamilymissionpossible.com, or as you see on the screen, stepfamilypodcast.com. So my husband and I are podcast hosts where we speak to the common challenges that step family couples face when they blend their families together.
Okay, so when you say you speak to those challenges, what do you mean? You give them solutions?
We give them solutions. We normalize the challenges that they face in their step families because we often feel isolated, like nobody really gets the challenges that we're going through, especially in a church environment. We kind of feel a little left out because we're not recognized as a quote unquote normal family.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you normalize the step family challenges, and then you provide some solutions or suggestions to kind of ease tension. Is that right?
Yes, to ease tension. I think most people want to belong. And so when they create a new family, they think that they're ready. It's kind of like if you said, I understand elementary dodgeball. So if you were in elementary school, you would say, yeah, I could play dodgeball. I played that in elementary school. And then you go out and you don't get picked for the team, or you get benched, or you get pummeled with the dodgeballs. And you had no idea that those things were going to happen because you thought you understood how to play dodgeball. You thought you understood how to make a family, how to form, how to come together. And then all of these new things that you've never experienced before actually come up, and they seem to come up really fast. So they almost take your breath away and often couples feel overwhelmed and disillusioned. Like, what just happened? I thought I knew what I was getting into when I got remarried.
Okay. Okay. Very good. So you serve, I'm not even going to put words into your mouth. Can you
Okay.
tell us, can you clarify who you serve?
Yes. So my husband and I serve Christian step family couples so they can navigate the complexities of step family life so they actually can blend beautifully together.
Okay, navigate. I'm taking notes because you guys, one thing I want you guys to know, when you're creating your unique branded secret, you need to take a lot of notes. You have to write down all these things that come up. So Christian step family couples so they can navigate, say again.
The complexities of step family life or of blending families together.
Blending families together. Okay. So what is the outcome of your services when somebody works with you and they say, well, what am I really going to get as a result of working with you guys? How would you answer that?
I think you will move from feeling overwhelmed to having an awareness that empowers you to move forward. So we're all about having a visionary roadmap. And that's what we work with couples on, that they develop their own unique visionary roadmap that aligns with their family values and their beliefs so that they actually can begin living their legacy today. We often think we build a legacy, or when we pass away, we leave the legacy, but you leave a legacy from building it every single day. And so we really want to help couples kick the chaos out of blending and just really embrace the strengths that they bring to the table and focus on what's working and the direction that they want to go.
Very good. Okay, so you guys know what I'm doing in the background here on my notes. And I wish we had a whiteboard where we could share all of this with you guys live. You're going to have to kind of track with me audibly. But as Jen was answering these questions, and these are the same questions I would want you to ask yourself, right? As she was answering these questions, there were some different words that she used that caught my ear, right? Because they were kind of powerful words that represent what she's out there doing. Okay. One of the words was dodge. Okay. Dodgeball was the context, right? But the word dodge, there's something there about dodging, whether it's dodging, the darts of enemy forces or dodging, some other painful situation, dodging the same issues you had in your first marriage from showing up in your second marriage times 10, right? There's a lot that could be there. So I wrote that word down. Another word that she said was align, right? That's a beautiful word when you think about step families, and what is required, really any family, but since what Jen does is work with step families, getting people to align, to unify, to be on the same page, all working on the same team for the same desirable outcome, right? The other word that I wrote down that she said was legacy, okay? And legacy is another powerful word. We all have kind of fond associations to a word like that, like a legacy. There's just, everybody wants to have a legacy, to leave a legacy. But Jen is saying, well, you can live your legacy right now. So those are three words. And if you might notice, legacy has 6 letters in it. Align and dodge both have 5. And I did that on purpose because, again, the ideal number of letters in your unique branded secret is going to be about 5 letters. So So that's what's happening in the background, and that's what you guys are going to want to do. So when you're doing this for yourself, it can be really helpful to dialogue about this out loud, right? Whether you have, a best friend, a spouse, a coworker, whatever, give the questions to your coworker and have them ask you these questions, and maybe even record yourself sharing the answers. Okay. And then go back and listen and find these words that pop up. Okay. So the next step that we're going to do here is we're going to identify the steps in Jen's process. So Jen, when you first start working with a couple, what is the very first thing that you do?
We celebrate what the couple brings to the table. So we want them to focus on the gifts that they bring and remind each other about why they fell in love to begin with, and that they actually are capable of blending this family. It may not look the way they thought it was going to look, but when we focus on our strengths, then that's going to set us up for success down the road.
Okay. So you guys know what's happening here in my notes. I just wrote down everything she said in bullet point form. So I put down the question was, what's your process? And then I put number 1, celebrate what they bring to the table. Number 2, focus on their gifts. Number 3, remind themselves of why they fell in love. Number 4, focus on their strengths. Okay, so that is step 1, right? What is your next step?
So we have called this our pillars, where you identify how you're communicating with each other so that you can have effective communication. And that would include things like understanding your love language. That would include understanding your values and your belief system, and recognizing that you have his story, you have her story, and to get to our story, you have to bring his story and her story together.
Good. His story and her story. And you have to bring them together to create our story. I heard a counselor say one time, every couple has a 2-story house, his story and her story. I was like, ooh, that's good. Okay. So step 2, learn the love language, values, beliefs, recognize his story and her story, and that you have to bring them together to create our story. Did I get it right?
You did.
Okay, great. What is your next step in your process of working with someone?
Okay, we focus on teamwork, and it's kind of like you're surveying the terrain. So, in a business environment, you do a SWOT analysis. So I call it a SWOT analysis, where you look at your strengths and where you're vulnerable, because there are places that you're not quite expecting that there are vulnerabilities in your stepfamily and in your stepfamily marriage. And then look at the opportunities and look at the threats. So very much like a business kind of thinking, that let's survey the terrain with curiosity instead of judgment, so that we can get real about, hey, if you have a high conflict ex-spouse, for example, or if you have financial issues where one partner brings a lot of debt to the marriage, we just need to acknowledge it without emotion and just say, okay, so now together, how are we going to work on this?
Mm-hmm. I'm loving this. I'm not in a step family, but I'm like, I still want to do all of it. How many steps are in your process right now, Jen? Let me just ask you that.
I have 5 stages.
Oh,
so I'm in line.
All right. This is a winner chicken dinner. Tell me what step 4 is then.
Okay, so this is future focused. So this is brainstorming. Like if you could just throw spaghetti against the wall and say, gosh, 10 years from now, I'd love to look like this. And just think about what is possible. So for example, if you have a 3-year-old, so a lot of people can relate to the way a 3-year-old behaves. They don't always do what we want them to do in the grocery store, and they don't always nap when we want them to nap. But 10 years from now, they're going to be 13. And you may be wanting that 3-year-old. So what we encourage couples to do is, instead of focusing on how we want our children to behave, we want them to focus on who they want them to become. And so this 10-year vision, if you were to describe your step family 10 years from now, what kind of adjectives would you use? What kind of experiences would you want to have had together as a step family? So it's it's really dreaming, brainstorming, coming up with ideas without limiting the possibilities.
Love it. All right. And then we have step 5. What is it?
Step 5. Yeah, so this makes it real. So we focus on what your family story is. So you brought his story and her story, and you have our story, and you've looked at all the gifts that you have in your step family. You have an idea of where you want to go. So now you got to get real. 10 years doesn't happen in 10 minutes, and it doesn't happen in 10 weeks. And so then we break it down to 90-day rocks. So for this quarter, what one area do you really want to focus on? And let's come up with at least 3 action steps that you can work on over this quarter. And then, of course, you get accountability and community and normalizing those challenges within the group environment.
Okay. Accountability. And you said one other word. Accountability and what?
Oh my gosh.
Okay. We didn't catch that one. Clearly, we are in our 40s.
Your family, I talked about the family story that you draw from your strengths.
Okay.
And you focus on those things.
Okay.
So you have a reasonable 90-day plan.
Okay. Great. 90-day accountability and a 90-day plan. Okay. Fantastic. I love it. All right. So once you guys are working on this for yourselves, you are going to do the exact same thing I just did with Jen. You're just going to say, well, what is your process? Now, if you're like, I don't know, am I supposed to have a process? Here's the thing, you guys, that a lot of people don't realize. Everyone has a process, right? You have a process for what you do that you do over and over and over again. You may just not even realize it because it's so intuitive for you, right? And you just do what you do. But if somebody came in to your business who didn't know anything about how you do what you do, and you had to train them, you'd have to break it down into a process that they can understand, right? That's the only way to scale a company, right? So you would have to say, all right, so the first thing that we do is this. The second thing that we do is that, and so on and so forth, right? So if you haven't developed your process, don't sweat it. Today is as good a day as any to start working on your process, but you have to do that before you can take the next step. Okay. So now we have her 5-step process, which I'm just going to summarize real quick so you guys can play along with us in the chat if you want to. Okay. So step 1 was to celebrate what they bring to the table, focus on their gifts, remind themselves of why they fell in love, and focus on their strengths. Step 2, learn their love language, their values, their beliefs, recognize that he has a story, she has a story, and they have to bring them together to create their story, or our story in Jen's words. Okay. Step 3, survey the terrain with curiosity instead of judgment. Oh, that's powerful. Look at strengths and vulnerabilities, and look at opportunities and threats. And Jen, please correct me if I got anything wrong here. Okay.
So far, so good. You're doing great.
Cool. Step 4, brainstorm what you want your lives to look like. Think about what's possible. Focus on who you want your family to become in 10 years. Think about adjectives you might use and experiences you might share. Step 5, focus on the family story for each partner, drawing from their strengths. Identify 90-day rocks to work on this quarter, and get accountability in implementing whatever it is that you're going to do. Anything I need to change?
I think community is a powerful word too, because often we do feel isolated and alone as though we're not a part of the community. So I think that's where the accountability in a community that gets you.
That was the word that I didn't catch. That was it. Accountability in community. Because who is the community?
The community is the people in the membership and the people in the coaching programs.
Perfect. Okay. I love this so much. If any of you guys are in blended families, you need to be listening to what this woman and her husband are putting out, because they are really onto something. They've got some keen insights that are super powerful. Jen, tell us again real quick, since I did a little impromptu commercial, how can they learn more about you?
Go to stepfamilymissionpossible.com.
Okay. And what's your podcast?
It is Step Family Mission Possible.
Well, there you go. That's pretty easy to put that together.
Pretty easy.
Okay, so if you guys are watching this live, I would love for you to play along with us in the chat if you want to. So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to look at these 5 steps, and we're going to try and come up with an acronym. The first thing I want to do is I just want to see, if we look at those words that came up in the very beginning, dodge, align, and legacy, is there anything there that resonates more or less with you, Jen? Just off the cuff speaking.
Legacy, I've always loved that word because to me it's growing, it's looking ahead and knowing that the best is yet to come. So I love that word, and I also love the word align.
Okay. Let me throw out a few additional words to you just out of curiosity. And I don't know if these will work. And you guys, when you're doing this at home, this is the process, right? You don't know if any of these words are actually going to work or not. We're brain dumping. Okay. So what about the word blend? Does that do anything for you?
Yeah, it's so interesting that you use that word. So I played around with that word several times. And I wrote down legacy and dodge in the blend as you were talking, thinking, okay, how do we do this? And the E, I don't know, some excitement maybe in there because we're recommitting ourselves. It should be exciting, right? We shouldn't be exhausted. It should be exciting. So working on these words, I'd like an F for family. I really focus on kicking a step out of step family because we often focus on it's a step this and a step that. And sometimes it's just a family thing. Like this is family.
So family might be the word.
Maybe.
Okay. What about the word unites?
I love that. I love that word.
Okay. What about the word mission?
Oh yeah, Step Family Mission Possible. Yeah, let's say, what can we do with mission? I love that. MISSION. That's 7. That's the max.
That's pushing it. So that's not going to be our first option, but we're going to see what we can come up with here. Okay. So what's your favorite out of legacy, align, blend, family, unite, and mission? Which one do you like the most?
I like mission because it just goes with what we're doing. Like I said, the
one that I said we can't do first is the one you want to do first, is what I'm hearing.
I'm kind of like the technical gremlins that we had earlier before we started. It's just like that. Like that. I can't be easy on you. You're the expert.
All right, fine then. All right. So
love these.
Mission. So what we're going to do here is we are going to write down the word mission. But instead of writing it left to right, we're going to write it down. Okay. So MISSION. Okay. You guys tracking with me? MISSION. I like to write this in all capitals with all of these letters bolded. Everything else.
Can I butt in for just a second here?
Yeah.
Rebecca Dolby in the chat said, blend, build, listen, engage, nestle, and dream. And I just really love the word nestle.
Well, come on, Rebecca. Like, why aren't you on here teaching this? That's brilliant.
That's really good. That's really, I actually like the word build. I do like that word.
I love that. I love that.
So just something to hold on to if we decide to look at blend. We can still look at mission for sure, but just wanted to throw that out there from Rebecca.
Rebecca, I love that. Okay, so you already have one option. Rebecca's faster than me. Okay, I better get with it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to try and play with mission. Okay, so if our first letter is M, right, and our first step, we have 5 steps. So how are we going to work with a 7-letter acronym?
So let me just call an audible here and let's ditch this word because it's got 2 I's and 2 S's and this is not going to work. So let's throw this one out.
Good call.
All right, take 2. Take two. Rebecca jumped the gun and got something for blend. So what's another word? You got legacy, align, unite, or family. Which one's doing it for you?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's try legacy because they're all different letters too. So that
Okay.
I think that helps too.
Okay, so once again, you're going to write the word from the top down, Legacy.
So
Okay.
if we're going to work with one of the longer words, it would be great to go back and look at your process, Jen, and figure out which of those steps we can split into 2 steps. So that we have 6 steps to work with.
Oh, yeah, I can make it up. No problem. I got it.
Which one can we split?
Let's see.
Good call, Amanda. Thank you for that.
Let's see. So what if we did in teamwork, we can identify, I put in there that we identify things that trip us up. So we identify our triggers.
Sorry, which one was teamwork?
That's step 3.
Oh, the third one, step 3. Sorry, step 3, where we're surveying the terrain. Okay. So when I think we can do a lot with that SWOT analysis to capture that in there, because our opportunities are looking ahead for our legacy as well and building our family. So maybe there's a way to use that in several different ways.
Okay, like we could possibly make it survey the terrain with curiosity instead of judgment, and then look at your strengths and vulnerabilities could be one step. Yeah. And then the next step could be look at your opportunities and threats.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so here we go. Legacy, L. Now in step 1, you said you celebrate what they bring to the table, focus on their gifts, remind themselves of why they fell in love, and focus on their strengths is what I put here. So how can we say these things with a verb? This is the other thing you guys need to remember. Almost always you want your acronym to start with verbs. Okay. So, and that's because they're active and they show that something's happening. Movement is happening, right? So, is it learn to love what your partner brings to the table? Could that be something?
It could be. Yeah, sure. Okay. Absolutely.
So learn to love what your partner brings to the table. Okay. Let's just go with that for now, and we can continue to explore it. Okay.
Okay. Great.
Then the next one is E. In step 2, you said you learn their love language, values, beliefs, recognize his story and her story, and you have to bring them together to create our story. Okay. So E could be something like, if you're learning their love language, their values, beliefs,
I think we could make explore work there.
Ooh.
Yeah. Explore or experience was a word I had, but I like explore.
Yeah.
I like explore a lot.
I like explore your stories, right?
Oh, that's good.
Explore your stories. Love language, values, and beliefs, right? Okay. Values and beliefs. Okay. Then G for step 3, this is survey the terrain with curiosity instead of judgment. Look at the strengths and vulnerabilities. So that could be get a new perspective. Because you're exploring the terrain with curiosity instead of judgment, right? Or instead of it could be gain a new perspective.
I like gain better.
I like gain too.
Okay, so let's do gain a new perspective. Okay.
The other thing that's coming to mind is go with what you've got. Like what you've got is really good. So go with what you've got. So I like all of those things that we were just talking about.
Very good. Okay, go with what you got. Now, here's the one challenge that I have with go with what you got. It's cute, right? I like it. It's conversational and light and all that good stuff, but I don't know what it means. I don't understand that step in the process without further explanation. And it can be confusing to people because then they're like, well, what does that mean? Right? As opposed to gain a new perspective, which invites questions of like, well, how do I do that? but they know the end goal is to gain a new perspective. Does that make
I like
sense?
it. It makes a lot of sense. I like it. Thank you.
Okay. So then we have A, and this is step number 4, which was looking at opportunities and threats. So this could be, what's an A word?
I think assess would work here. And I just realized that I'm just like a voice speaking from the void. So I'm gonna turn my camera on.
Hey there, nice to see you.
Yes. Assess your opportunities and threats. That works. We could also do, let's see, assess your opportunities and threats.
So I'm moving ahead to C, thinking about A, but challenge the status quo. I think there's part of we really encourage families not to believe what they've heard. So the second divorce rates are significantly high. And when you start with a mindset that says, oh my gosh, I'm already doomed before I get started, that doesn't help you. And so we really want to challenge that status quo.
I love that.
Okay. So that's what I was thinking.
Okay, so that's for C. So you're still with A, though, for assessing your opportunities and threats, right?
I am. And I'm wondering, is there an action word? So part of one of the things that we emphasize in coaching is that no one else can do the work in your family that you are called to do. And so if you want to see a change in your family, you have to take action. So I don't know if there's an action word.
Rebecca has suggested adapt or activate, if we can make either of those work.
I like adapt.
I'm in love with activate.
I really like activate as well, actually.
All right, I'm odd woman out here. Lay it on me. Activate.
Okay, activate your opportunities and threats is what we got, right? No, that doesn't work. Activate your opportunities.
I think we would need to figure out. Rebecca said, I am full of A words. Sam also just threw out advocate as another option. I don't know if we can go super on the nose and talk about opportunities and threats, even though you're going to do that. Even though you're going to do that at this stage, we don't necessarily need to say that right now. What is the benefit of doing that?
Well, here's something too. You could do activate awareness of opportunities and threats.
What about advocate for your family?
Okay.
What about something like that? Because it's kind of like when you're the new kid in school, you get tired of explaining that you're in a blended family. Like, oh my gosh, why aren't your kids here this week? I mean, I only see them every so often. Well, it's because they go to the other house kind of thing. So thinking out loud here as we're working out loud.
Advocate for your family is a good one because of all the reasons you just said. I think it works. And here's the thing, as you guys are doing this for yourselves, like I said, this is a brain dump, right? We're not making a final decision right now. We're illustrating what could be, but this exercise can keep going and going and going and growing, right? Let's go to why, which this is going to be hard.
Yeah. So I just want you to know that I literally just Googled verbs that start with Y.
I was going to say that's the trick.
And the only one on this list that we could possibly make work is yearn.
Okay.
Because everything else is like yak and yawn and work.
What about
yawn
yodel?
Is not going to work.
Yodel, yeah, that's
right. So why words that are verbs? So
Rebecca said, "Why are you waiting?"
Rebecca, you're amazing. Okay, so why? Just so you guys know at home, oh my gosh, Rebecca's so good at this. She put yield.
Oh, yield is a good one. That wasn't on the list. What the heck, Google?
Okay, one thing that you guys should know when you're doing this at home, always have Google or Google in front of you so you can research verbs that start with whatever letter you're trying to go for. We use it all the time. Okay. So step 5, if the step is to focus on the family story for each person, drawing from your strengths, identifying the 90-day rocks to work on this quarter, and accountability and community with implementation. So could it be, what would you yield? You would yield. I love the word yield. I'm trying to think of how it's going to work in this.
So let me talk about it in the context of Christianity. It's actually a great word because we do yield to God's authority. So we yield to God's call on our step family. We acknowledge that God has a role in this, and so we submit these things to prayer. So our membership and coaching programs are aligned with scriptural principles. So yield is actually a really good word in this context.
So yield to God's authority in your family and create your 90-day plan.
Okay. I think it needs a little work, but it's a start.
Okay. Let's see where we're at right now. Okay. Because the whole point of doing this live was to start this process. Rebecca's going to send an invoice. Thank you very much, Rebecca. We will accept that invoice. Okay, so let's review where we're at, though. And Sam, if you wouldn't mind typing in the chat what we did, because we want to see each word with what it says. Actually, no, I can't type it in the chat. Sorry.
It's okay. We got it.
Okay, so the word is legacy. And step 1, learn to love what your partner brings to the table. Step 2, explore your stories, your love language, your values, and beliefs. Step 3, gain a new perspective. Step 4, advocate for your family. Step 5, challenge the status quo. Step 6, yield to God's authority in your family and create your 90-day plan. I got to tell you, I actually love it.
I mean, it just feels good. And the last one, I don't know if the 90-day thing is necessary. Just saying yield to God's best for your step family or for your family. How's that? Do you feel like the 90-day or the roadmap is important to include in there?
Well, I think it is an important element, but I don't think it has to be in this plan. When somebody, again, we're trying to kind of invite that curiosity by saying yield to God's best, where they're like, okay, I know there's something I have to do, and that invites somebody who aligns with Christian beliefs. Anybody there is going to know, like, okay, yeah, that's right. I'm not supposed to be doing this in my own strength. I am supposed to yield to a power higher than myself, right? And so it's going to invite enough curiosity that they're going to say, but how, Jen? And that's where you get to explore and this is how. This is what it looks like.
So just for another perspective, Rebecca said, for me, I would like to know the commitment level. So knowing that it's a 90-day plan would actually be really important for some people if they want that, they want that timeline in mind.
So, but here's a way that you can do that. You can say you yield to God's best for your family. And then when you're explaining how, you say, we start with creating a 90-day plan, right? And we bring you into this community to have this ongoing support network, so you never feel isolated and alone again. So you can definitely do that. You can touch on the 90 days, and it is an important thing for people to understand, but I don't know if it's critical for them to understand in the process of just hearing what your unique branded secret is.
Yeah. And Rebecca also just said, if you say it somewhere else, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the acronym, which I would agree with. As long as they know, I think that's going to be important. That's important for you to communicate to them as you go through that process. But it doesn't necessarily have to be in this piece, because this is just a piece.
Right. So now, Jen, what would you do with this, right? Well, you had a lot of other words, and you could continue fleshing this out and playing with it. But let's pretend that we, hit the jackpot with this and you're like, oh my gosh, I love it. It's perfect. I don't want to change a thing. Okay. When you get to that place, what would you do with it? Well, the next step would be to trademark it. Now, you're probably not going to be able to trademark the word legacy. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to pretend to be a lawyer, but I'll tell you, just based on what I know, that's going to be a tough one to trademark. However, you could put legacy into a bigger set of words and get that trademarked. So, for example, I don't want to butcher this. I can't recall what it is, but my business coach uses the scale it. I think it's the scale it formula. It might be the scale it process. I'm sorry if you're watching this, Allison. I don't remember. But it's one of those. Okay. Now scale is the big part of her acronym, right? But it just like legacy, you can't trademark the word scale, right? But could you trademark the scale it formula, the scale it process, the legacy formula, the legacy solution, the legacy process, the legacy family, or live your legacy now, right? Could you trademark those? Probably. Right now, you have to talk to a trademark attorney, obviously, to go through all of that. But once you find something you absolutely love, you do want to go through the process of trademarking it, because then it makes it truly untouchable. And no other person out there that works with blended families can take that and say they have it, at least not legally, right? You have that competitive differentiator that everybody wants, right?
And it's a word that people can relate to as well. Like, what that is, even if you don't know what all those steps are. We want that. That legacy means I've been married a long time and successful and enjoyed it too. So I love the word.
Okay, so here's other things to be mindful of. If you get on a stage to promote your business, you can have a whole talk around building your legacy. And the whole talk can be like, in Step Family Mission Possible, we have something called the legacy formula. Here's what it is. And you walk people through the formula, and you give them just enough goodness that they're like, ooh, I want more. And then they enroll in your program to get the real juice, right? This can also become the foundation for a book that you write. And the chapters of your book are legacy, right? You've got a 7-chapter book there where you talk about each of these things, right? This can be podcast episodes, right? This can be blog posts. This can be a series of emails. This can be so much. So this one unique branded secret becomes a pillar in all of the marketing that you do for your business.
Yeah, I love it. I do. I have many of those things that you said. I was thinking some of them, not the book part. God, I've been working on writing a book for a long time now. I'm not alone in that, by the way. I know I'm not.
No, you're not.
But there will be a book in my legacy. How about that? I'll declare that on live right now.
Well, and I might challenge you back and say, live your legacy now, girl.
You might.
Okay. So there's so much you guys can do when you have a unique branded secret. You set yourself apart, but you also have these foundational elements to what you teach and what you share and how you help people get great results through what you do every day. So, Jen, thank you for being an amazing hot seat guest and sharing this,
Wow, thank you.
walking through it with us.
So Really
It was
quick,
awesome.
Jen, before you jump off,
Yeah.
Steph, I know we need to wrap up pretty soon because you have somewhere that you have to be. So really, really quickly, Rebecca in the comments a little bit ago asked if we have a like step-by-step questionnaire on this. So Rebecca, the answer to that question is you already have access to the full training on this because it's in the Academy. If you go all the way back to, I want to say it was November, our first month last year, we did a training on creating your unique branded secret. So go watch that. It's there for you. And then on that note, Jen, you are also one of our wonderful Academy members. So would you mind just really quickly sharing just a little bit about your experience with the Academy?
No, it'd be my honor to do that.
Amanda, why don't you take me and you off the screen
Oh, yeah,
so we
I can
can
do that.
focus on Jen.
Okay. Gosh, it's just it's my honor to do that. And I want to say too, I think you guys are going to put in the chat the link to the book, right? So that I read the chapter, I read the whole book, and as soon as it arrived in my mailbox, I read it that day. It's so good because we tend to overcomplicate things. And so the power of the Academy is coming together, much like I talk about in step family coaching, coming together in a community where people get you, that as an entrepreneur, we get a lot of brain fog. We're so close to what we know and love that it's so helpful when we have other people who can support us, encourage us, and challenge us, just much like what you saw today. So if you liked what you saw today, this is what you get in the Academy. You get this one-on-one access to the genius of Sizzle Force. I love Sizzle Force. I thoroughly appreciate the feedback in the community that we get when we're putting our ideas forth. So if you are thinking about joining the Academy to uplevel your marketing savvy in a way that is fun and engaging, I highly encourage you to check out Sizzle Force.
Thank you, Jen. That was amazing. We are so grateful to be in a position where we get to share your growth journey. And Rebecca, also, who was our absolute fangirl today in the chat, very, very strong participation. Rebecca, high five to you. And thank you so much. You guys, it's a privilege to serve you in the Academy. If the rest of you are like, what Academy? What the heck are they talking about? So Sizzle Force Marketing Academy is our DI Sorta Why marketing training program. Okay. It is when we work with you to teach you how to market your business the right way the first time, as opposed to you bouncing all over the place and attending the University of YouTube and trying to figure it out all by yourself. You work with our team of very seasoned marketers. It's a process. It's a combined thing of some recorded trainings, it's live consulting, it's tool recommendations, it's all the things that you need, plus a really cool community. So you get that accountability and support that we've been really talking about being so valuable. So we are going to let you guys go. Sizzle Force Marketing Academy, we're going to be doing a big challenge in October for you guys that we're super excited to bring your way. So we'll be giving more information on that soon. But next week, we will not be doing one of these normal trainings, just so you know, because we are going to be attending Traffic and Conversion, which is the world's largest marketing conference and a must attend for all of us. The great thing about that is we go to Traffic and Conversion. It is the top marketing minds in the world gathering together to learn what's working now, so we can pass that knowledge on to you guys. So we might pop in for an unexpected live at some point next week, but we're not going to have this regular scheduled thing at 11 o'clock on Wednesday. We will be back with that the following week. So
really quick before we wrap up, I know normally we do Q&A and we didn't have time for that today because of our tech issues. So we apologize for that. If you guys are watching the replay or if you're on live right now and you have questions, drop them in the comments. Our team will be monitoring the comments and we will make sure you get answers to your questions.
You're so good. So good.
It's good.
All right. Jen, thank you. Amanda, Samantha, Rebecca, thank you. And to everyone who's watching, thank you for participating. And we look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Have an awesome day.